Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Accountable Conversations. I am your host and the executive producer of this show. I go by the name Logan, and I am so happy that you are here with me for another conversation. First of all, I want to say welcome to Make Your Move Monday. This is going to be a little uncomfortable for me, so let me tell you that, excuse me, in advance. It's going to be quite uncomfortable because I know this flyer over here that you wound up seeing me promote. It says about awakening the dreamer. And so when I was consulting God and having my meditation time to see, okay, how this is going to go, because that's, some of you who have watched this show know I have put things together. And right at the time of going to do my videos, either my tablet will stop working or he won't give it to me until I get to set and pretty much hit record. And so it's going to be uncomfortable for this reason. I'm standing in a new place within my life. Clarity, accountability, and getting things right. By way of an announcement, I'll be starting a new program as well. We have Make Your Move on Mondays. And God had dropped within my spirit to start a new one. And so today is a partial glimpse of what the new show will deal with. It's going to be called, and it's a play on words, it's Righting the Wrongs. Righting, like righting the wrongs. And what we'll talk about in Righting the Wrongs are things that have been experiences in life. And hear me clearly, though I do not regret anything I've done within my life, because I have lived, and we'll go into these hard truths in just a moment. It's uncomfortable because until he gave me, of course, we know the concept of what Accountable Conversations is about, but when he said the righting the wrongs part, he wound up then saying to me today, okay, sneak peek, and here's what I want you to deal with while awakening the dreamer. I need you to reconcile some things and let it go. So it's uncomfortable because some things I've talked to myself about, but I've never put it out in the atmosphere. What has gone on and what has caused my actions to be certain ways. Because here's the thing, if you do not deal with your trauma, if you do not deal with your abandonment, if you do not deal with your rejection, guess what? It'll all deal with you. So even though within this particular segment that will be on Wednesdays, the Righting the Wrongs, it's going to cause me to have to be clear and stop placing blame to everything, accept responsibility, accountability, and make it right. When you've been through enough stuff and you've gone through turmoil and all this negativity and drama and all that, there comes a time that you get tired of toxic behavior. Not just toxic from other people. But can somebody say today with me that there have been times, if I'm being fully transparent and honest, that I have been just as nasty? Well, they started it and they did this. But what was your contribution? Yes, you started out as a victim. But many times, if you do not deal with what the trauma is, the victim can then pass on to someone else the process of victimization. Last week, I wound up wearing my white jacket from when I was doing nursing at Barnes and all that. I wore my jacket from that when I was doing my clinicals and everything for the emergency room. I'm sorry, I just took a pause. At the same time that I'm speaking on camera, he's talking and saying things to me. And I'm trying to hear and speak at the same time because I don't want to miss anything. So let me ask you this question. And let me preface this before I get too involved. The thoughts and the views expressed on this page are those of my own and no one else. All things are to be considered alleged unless otherwise specified, which in this is not necessarily alleged because it was my life. Now, though players within certain key points could have a different view, this is my view. And you can't necessarily tell someone how they should feel or what their opinion or view should be. Because in some senses, let me just speak for myself. Don't tell me all that and you haven't been through a dusting of the hell that I have had to walk through. Don't do that. Don't do it. See, I saw myself at one time as, and this is why I love the Bible so much, it's because even though it could have a certain person's name in the spot within scripture or parables, I like to look at it as prophecy for my life. It's also a guideline on how to get through certain things. But my most favorite thing about scriptures are the stories that they tell. What do I mean by the stories that they tell? Though I might not be in that same exact position, at least I can see a point of reference that someone else went through a similar thing or a worse thing and they were able to make it out. And so I look at it from the standpoint, hear me, when I see the three Hebrew boys I don't see them as them. I look at situations that I've been in within my life that I needed God to rescue me out of, because I thought that the fire would burn me, or it would overtake me, or have me smelling a certain way, or look singed. But it wasn't until I got in the word and found out this valid truth. Not just a fact, a valid truth. He said, when you pass through the waters, now he said this to the people that when you pass through the waters, guess what? I'll be with you. It won't be able to overtake you. Listen, when you get into the fire, guess what? You're not alone. Why? Because I'm there in the fire with you. I'm protecting you. I'm giving you a story. I'm in the lion's den. I'm in the lion's den, and naturally, my fear in conscious thinking would kick in the lion's den. Why? Because you already have a perception that this is an aggressive animal, and any little move could trigger it. Oh, but what do you do when you have a confidence that says, listen, while you over there growling, and I know y'all hungry and all that, let me sit back, get my pillow, and chill until I'm delivered out of the pit. Let me deal with something, because I'm going to talk to people who want to be honest and truthful today. Now, some people would say, and my sister, Crystal, my god sis, she said to me, Henry, now you got to learn how to stop being so fidgety and all that. And I told her, it's not because I'm nervous. It's more so because when I get into this place of what I know my assignment, and I found what my passion is. I found what my passion is. How? By dreaming of it. I found out where I'm supposed to be by dreaming of it. I saw myself doing it before I did it. See, somehow, some way, God allows you to go into a sleep, a peaceful rest, and allows dreams to manifest within your life. Listen, let me take you back to something. 2003 was a huge year for me. That was the year that Prophetess Bynum wound up coming to St. Louis and doing this massive conference. And I got to work with Prophetess, like face-to-face work with her, and was doing things. And I was like, wait a minute, what is going on? And even while armor bearing for quite a few of the different artists and speakers during that time, well, we had to go set the stage. We had to go set the stage. Now, mind you, 1997 is when I got saved under Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes. And even at that conference, wound up getting hands laid on me by Bishop Jakes. And so that's just kind of weird in a sense. Well, not weird in a bad way, but it's weird. It's almost like things are starting to become full circle moments. Like I've seen this already played out before. How did I see it already played out? Because I had a dream about it. I had a dream already about it. I seen myself already doing it before I did it. So going back to Bishop Jakes, got saved under him. Then 2003, huge year for my life. My uncle, Bishop James E. Holloway, we were doing the Midwest Regional Prayer. And of course, it's over in Collinsville, Illinois, and all that, because all of these metropolitan churches are coming together for prayer to get ready for this revival that's coming to hit the city of St. Louis. And so I was asked to be on the agenda to pray. Well, first of all, why would you put me on an agenda to pray and you've never seen me in that realm? And so that was big to me. I was nervous because that's the first time I've been in front of a crowd speaking or doing anything that doggone big. And God just happened to sweep that night, and that opened doors for me to do different things around this land. I was put into a position, and from the position, it gave other opportunities. Who in the world does that sound like? Well, I'm reminded of a story with a man named Joseph, the dreamer. Now, I know if you go and watch, what was it, Get Your Life with Tamar Braxton, if you go back and watch that episode, they had something called dream work with Goldie. They had something called dream work, and it was you having the dreams and then speaking it, uttering it out loud, and seeing what codes are within these dreams. Now, I just felt something when I just said that, and here's what I just felt, and I'm hearing as I'm talking about that. It's the dream, which is the thing that will give you the codes to the next place that you're supposed to be in. You're trying to move all the way too fast because you want to be at the finish mark now. And you haven't even made it out of the gate yet. Why? Because you're still asleep. Listen, I come in an official capacity today. You'll never see a judge get up within their courtroom, usually, and preside over the case and not have on their official garment. What does the specific garment says? It says that, listen, there's an authority and a dominion that I possess within this chamber. And based upon how things pan out and the evidence that comes together is how I will rule within this case. Dreamer, you've been asleep way too long. And the reason why sometimes you are getting fatigued, and I'm going to say this because I'm talking to myself. Yes, I'm saying people and all that, but listen, whenever I do these shows, I told you this year is going to be a year of healing for me. And healing for me comes with telling the truth. It comes with being accountable and responsible, not just with my words, but with my actions. So when we do righting the wrongs, there's been some things that I've been in within life that has caused me to put out the wrong image and to sanction some things that I know did not honor the God that's within me. Why? Because it was for compromise. And the compromise was because I wanted to not feel rejected. When I do this show, Crystal, you see, here we go. I'm rubbing my hands again. I keep telling y'all, when I do this show, many times, even though I have notes and all that, I don't get to use them because he just starts speaking and I just start flowing. And so when I'm rubbing my hands and all that, believe that's because I'm trying to contain myself, because I'm ready to run. I'm ready to scream. When I think about all the hell that I've been in and me not getting the proper judgment that I deserved, good God. So I'm talking to people who want to tell the truth, who have been through stuff in life and will say, yes, there were times that I was the victim of this, and this. It hurt. It didn't feel good. And I was left broken. I was left abused. I was left hopeless. And so today, yeah, things didn't all pan out the way that they should have. I'm sorry, I have to take a pause because I'm trying to keep myself from crying on this camera. We letting it go today. I'm speaking a finality to certain issues today, a 20+ year issue. I was watching the homegoing celebration for my god grandparents, Archbishop Arthur L. Kelley and Mother Maggie Lois Kelley, excuse me. And I have to give a shout out to the Kelley family. Let you know I'm praying for you all. I thank God for the legacy of Archbishop because he was one of the ones who took time and had a conversation, not with the minister, but while let greater faith as a son. Uncle Kevin Kelley, you talked about forgiveness when you got up to speak today. And it hit me so hard. Forgiving and letting go. And I cried while you were talking, for this reason. I thought about apologies that I have been waiting to receive. Because of situations that I went through as a child. We're going to talk about it. Because today I'm making a conscious decision to let this particular thing go. Because listen, as I said, if you will not or did not deal with the hurt, if you did not deal with the pain, if you did not lance the infected or affected venomous area of your life, you don't realize not dealing with it and allowing the infection to stay is causing it to move all over your body, and you're wearing it. You're wearing it like you wear your clothes. And it's starting to show that you can't hide it anymore. See, just because I'm looking at this camera, yeah, I know some will think, oh, he's talking directly to me. No, Spirit is talking directly to you. The truth is, I'm not presenting this necessarily to you. I'm presenting this to myself. I'm deciding, instead of staying in the place that I'm at because the circumstance or the atmosphere does not match what I saw in a dream. Listen, it's time to let it go. It's time to awaken, dreamer. Logan, I'm talking to you. Now, you can put your name there, but I'm talking to Logan right now. I need to talk to the 6-year-old little boy. Thinking back to when we had moved to Sykeston, Missouri, to pastor a church down in that area. And my mom was a newlywed pretty much when we were going to that area. And I want you all to listen as I'm talking to myself. Because sometimes you need to utter out loud what has hurt you, what has stunted your growth, what has left you in the corner, paralyzed and so afraid to trust and give your heart fully. I think back, yes, we had good times within the household years. But just as we had good times, we had a lot of times, many more times of hell in my eyes. I can remember being told about making up my bed. And, you know, I didn't really know how to make a bed like that. You don't fold it like an adult would and all that. So I did what I felt I could do as a 6-ish-year-old. And because it wasn't done right, it's like, okay, well, you need to do it again. So I did it. And I guess it wasn't done right again. And so it was like, well, do you need some help to get this done? And I said, yes. Not realizing that the help that was going to come was by way of a belt. 6 years old, or 6-ish. I'm now 36. And hear me, there are days that I cry thinking about some of the things. I never allowed the 6-year-old to have a voice. And I'm sorry. I can remember another time we wound up moving back to St. Louis, Missouri, and we were living at 5018 Robin. There was picture times that were going on. And why am I getting most of this out right now? It's not to embarrass anyone. That is never my goal. That is why I will not use the name of the person in which I'm speaking about. If you know who it is, then you know. But I'm not in the business of just trying to tear someone down just to do that. Like, no, it's called integrity. No. But the thing is, I never allowed those stages of my life to have the real pain. I suppressed everything because that's how we were taught to do it. You keep your family business within the family, and you don't make it outsiders' business. They were going to take pictures, and it was supposed to be a day for the boys, my stepdad, and it was supposed to be the boys taking pictures. Well, somewhere along the line, I guess there was an issue that rose between my mom and my dad. And I'm going out to the car so we can go take pictures. You know, everybody got dressed, and I was told, you know, go to the car so you can go take pictures with your brothers and all that. Okay, cool. And to get in the car and then be turned back to and said, what are you doing? Well, mama said to get in the car so we can do the pictures. And to hear said publicly in front of my siblings, and to the point where my mother was able to hear it. Certain things kids should not be privy to. I don't believe in adults clowning and arguing in front of children. Why? Because I've been there. I know what it's like. So, no, I'm not for it. But I was told to go back in the house because these pictures were not for me. It was for his boys. That hurt. That hurt to have someone with your mother and they take your mother, but seemingly they don't want you. That hurts. Why am I bringing it up? Because these are issues that I never dealt with fully, not in this magnitude like I'm talking on this camera to myself. Think about another time. I had my, certain thoughts and mindsets and how I should react and behave. And here's what I just had to, within the last 24 hours or so, had to face the facts of. The facts were, all of the stuff happened. The facts were, you were treated differently. But the truth is, but you made it out. I watched Iyanla's show about airing dirty laundry. And I'm glad that I have matured in many ways, because I can remember a time in the not so distant past that I would have gotten onto social media, flying off and cussing. And it looks like I'm losing it or I'm exploding on someone. But what it really was is fears were kicking up of abandonment, of rejection, of feeling isolated, of feeling unwanted. I can remember one day I had gotten a whooping at home, and of course, yeah, we got whoopings, and most Black people did. Um, but there's a difference when it goes from whooping certain parts to, and I was one who would move, so that's part of it. But when you start holding someone's leg and they're kind of hanging down, you're holding their leg up and whooping them, I think that's a little excessive at times. But it happened. Well, this particular day, we wound up going to school. Craig Elementary School is where we were attending, and we were doing the lice checks. They check the little bugs in your hair and see if they're on your body and all this other stuff. And so we were having that. And so you had to go into the nurse's office, and the nurse was going to check you and also have someone in there as well to check, your hair for lice and check on your skin for different things. Well, this particular day, I had just gotten a whooping the day before. And so when they went to check for lice and all that, they seen these welts all over my back and all that. And so they wanted to know who did this, what happened. And of course, you don't tell any business. It was like, well, you won't get in trouble, they won't get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And it was still that wall of silence. Well, what's going on? Nothing's going on. And so it became a thing where then I had to go to Miss McMahon, which was our school counselor, and she heard about different things. And I guess obviously they reported that I had this at the time. And so there was a call that was made to the house and all that. And even though I said nothing, they went off whatever, I got my tail beat that day. For the simple reason, it was now out that I had this stuff on my body. And now it's like, okay, so you gonna try to tell on me? Don't you know you can get taken from us this way? And I'm like, but I didn't say anything. And it was just always this contentious relationship for time and time and time again. It just seemed as if it was friction many, many, many times over. And I'm like, what is this? Then I can remember a day when my mother wound up getting hit on. And this particular day, I seen him just try to lay into my mother. I seen graphic times where we would be in the kitchen, and he would have us to be in there and try to push my mom to the chair, and just business the kids should not know about. You didn't give me some, and it's like, really? And to see someone trying to be possessive to your mother, to try to take her pants down and say, "You gonna give me this, I'll make you do it in front of them." I ain't get it. So I didn't know what it was to see a really successful relationship and stability within relationship, because it always seemed to be volatile. Then there came the time where he wound up hitting her that day. And for whatever reason, I just had this huge boldness, maybe because we have been through this for years now. And this day when he had hit on my mother after she just got her hair done, she just got it done. He was fighting with her and, hitting her in the head and knocked her hair apart and all that. Just had gotten it done. And so I stood up to him and I was furious. I was like, "So I guess that's what makes you a man. You call yourself a man because you can hit on a woman." And in that moment, obviously, there was some type of threat, because before I knew what happened, a fist had came to my face, to my nose. And I was told, "You need to stay to yourself. You're a child. And you need to stay that way, yo high yellow mother." And then we were put out for a minute for that day. My brother was like, "No, I'm keeping my son here. You and him can leave." Well, he got to get out of my house. So I went to my neighbor's house, the Ramies. But to see my mom go through that was hard. And for many times, I was pissed, even with my mother. I'm saying it out loud today, because I know that you're trying to show this positive uh, side and be, this good wife. Now, mind you, my mother, if people know how I can get, well, believe, me and my mother have similar personalities. And so words are huge. And so you provoke and she's going to snap back at you in defense. And so I was pissed, because I'm like, you're trying to maintain, this virtuous Christian woman. You're trying to maintain a happy household. We're giving the image of that, but on the inside, at least one of your children are suffering. So I was mad that after all this time, why didn't you leave? What made me pretty mad the other day, and I'm glad I've learned how to measure and wait. Everything does not have to be said in that moment. I learned that the hard way by blasting off first and then having to handle the consequences of those actions because I moved in haste or out of my flesh and emotion. I didn't allow myself to process all of the disgust, the pain, the hurt, the anger, the rage, the everything. Even when I thought back to my first molestation during the Bishop Jakes conference and all that, I was pissed because I didn't feel that I could tell my mom in that time what had happened because it was embarrassing. Another guy touching your boy, like, really? No, so I didn't want to say that. And then I was pissed that I have a man in the household who is there physically in the household, but that time, there was nothing put into it. Hear me and hear me clearly. And I'm switching back and forth. I'm talking to myself and then I'm going to pop back in with you. Hear me and hear me clear. It's time to deal with whatever the toxicity has been in your life. Your peace of mind is better. Your peace of mind is what matters. Have you ever been in a place, and I'm talking back to myself again, Logan, I need you to forgive yourself. From carrying weights that you were not equipped to handle. Because I felt I had to be strong for my mother. I'm still that way. Now, me and my mom clash because we're alike in some ways. We clash. That's our way of, I guess, loving on each other. It's a little bit toxic, but that's our way of loving on each other. She knows I love her. I know she loves me. But there are times in which it's like, you need to cut this umbilical cord. What do I mean by that? I felt since my mom had gotten a divorce 20 years ago, I had to be there for her. And nobody was going to do anything or say anything to my mom without me now being able to come to her defense. What I was not able to do as a child and stand up and speak up as a child. See, the child didn't have a voice. It was muted or it was turned down low. It wasn't validated. It was thought to be insignificant. But you are who you are. You are who you are. As much as you may try to run, there's no getting away. You need to know the time that you are in right now. You need to know the season in which you're in right now. God gave you the codes in dream. See, one scripture says that our young men shall see visions, and our old men will dream dreams. I said last week, you are not meant to walk this journey alone, period. When he sent out people for the work of ministry, he sent them out 2 by 2. Wait a minute, that 2 sounds familiar. Well, let's go to another one. When he got ready to destroy the world by water, he told Noah, listen, get your wife, get your children, and I want you to get 2 of every animal. Interesting. I want you to go get 2. You're not meant to do this by yourself. See, here's how we need to be working together, and we are all fitly conjoined, whether you are in the church or whether you operate as the church. Listen, you need someone to walk with. We need to hear what you have to say. We're waiting on your arrival. You're saying, I don't see the prototype. I don't see somebody doing what you've called me to do and all of that. And so I need to know that I heard you clearly. So give me a sign by letting me see someone else do what you've called me to do. And that way, if they're doing it, I won't feel so isolated and alone and like I'm a freak because I heard this or I saw this long before it ever came to pass. Dreamer, listen, the reason why you're so groggy, not only naturally, but spiritually as well, and the reason why you're losing the fight is because you were in the place that I've been in many, many, many times before. Too much sleep can cause fatigue. So you rest when you're tired, but if you rest too much, then it can cause issues too. What are you saying today? I'm saying it's time to bring balance. It's time to bring balance. What are you called to do? Who are you called to be? Know the time. What are you called to do? Who are you called to be? Know the time. Know the time. Because the other part to that scripture that says about knowing the time says this, that it is now high time, meaning this is the most perfect time. It's the opportune time to awaken out of your sleep. You've been asleep way too long. Wake up, dreamer. You got the codes from the dream. Now, allow someone who has vision to hear or see what you were coded in the dream and let them mix their code with yours. Crack the code by waking up and living the reality instead of the dream. Listen, I used to hear people say, God ain't waiting. You ain't waiting on God. God waiting on you. What? And it was not until like here recent where I start thinking within myself, meditating on the scripture that if I make my bed in hell, I'm there. Listen, if I go to whatever dimension, guess what? He gonna be there too. And so in essence, with him being so omnipresent, I don't have to ask you to come in. You were already here when I got here because you're omnipresent. You're every place I need you to be. And here's what he had to say to me. He said, Logan, here's what I need you to get. Here's what I need you to get. In the times where it feels like I'm silent, it's not that I'm silent to ignore you. It's not that I'm silent because I'm an indifferent parent. It's not that I'm silent because I don't know what the plan is. I'm silent because in your dream, in your spirit, within yourself, you already saw where you were supposed to be. And now he's saying, you don't need another instruction. Now you need to take the code and work the code. Solve the puzzle, because the code is what's going to get you to your next place of destiny. Listen, there was a dreamer, and he told his family, you know, what he saw and what he interpreted that to mean. His brothers were so envious of him that it was like, hey, dad favors him the most. Let's sell him out. Let's sell him into slavery and then manipulate the minds of others to believe that our dear brother is dead. Well, what they didn't know is that this dreamer, even though he was in a pit, his brother Judah was the concerned one. It was his brother Judah. Judah is the portion of praise. It represents this place of praise. And so it was Judah, the one who was to feel the sorrow and want to get his brother out. Have you been into anything that only praise could get you out of? It wasn't your money. It wasn't peace of mind. It was praise that had to get you to the point where you were able to make it past where you are. What they didn't know is that there was going to be tribulation and trial within the city. And so it was asked, after the king had a dream, what does this mean? And it was someone who was in jail with Joseph that wound up saying, listen, there's a man who not only dreams, but he can interpret the dream. He can crack the code of the dream to let you know what you need to do to make it to this next place in which you're being shifted to. And so the king said, look, bring him here. Joseph said, this is what I need you to know, king. You need to save up and all that, because there is a drought that's going to come and it's going to devastate. Listen, it sounds familiar. Why? Because earlier within this year, there was a word that went out and God had told us literally to get ready for what's about to hit America, and already gave warning before time what would happen, and we're seeing it unfold now. He gave the code. Now it was up to you to crack the code. Today, listen, I'm going to end this because we're already past the hour mark. And we'll have to pick the other part of this up on Wednesday when we do righting the wrongs. Many times that I wound up popping off, yes, I have regrets in that, because sometimes I operate out of emotion before allowing clear conscious thought to take control first. I operate or had operated out of hurt, out of anger, out of rage, out of not having the typical father type figure that other friends had that I thought was so great. And so it caused me to act out in ways. So this isn't a video about what a person did. It's what did you do as well? Can you accept responsibility and accountability for the part that you play, even though you may have been the one who was hurt initially? There's a saying that says, hurt people will hurt people. You were the victim, but now you're starting to become the victimizer. You got to let that go. So today, all of that stuff that was dealt with that I held from that specific thing, person, all of that, today, after 20 plus years, that's over. Sometimes you worry about what you did not have, that once you now get in the presence of what you need, you're too afraid to move forward in it. Because you're worried about what you didn't have rather than what you now have in front of you and can build. It's time for you to make your move today. It's time for you as the dreamer to awaken. It's time to tell the truth and see who you are. Don't blame everybody else. See where you can be made better. So as the doctor of accountability, we're going to leave you with some homework today. And here's the homework. I need you to write down the very thing or things that you saw yourself doing, the person you saw yourself being. Write it down, put it in front of you. Second part of the script is this. After you get it written down and get it in front of you, I want you to do at least 1 hour each day the task of building yourself into the person that you saw yourself being in the dream. For instance, with me, now I've worked in nursing, I've worked in human resources, I've done janitorial, worked at White Cat, I've done quite a bit of things, but it wasn't until this year that I found out what my purpose in life is. And guess what it is? Being there for you, being accountable. I can't run from who I am, even though I have struggles and all that. I cannot run from who I am. I mean, it's just in your nature. Stop running from who you are. The world is waiting for you to arrive on the scene. You are the healing agent that others need in this season. My last video that I did, and we're gonna wrap this up. My last video that I wound up doing, I got quite a few messages from people saying how much it helped them. And even though I'm building myself each day to become a better public speaker, a better minister, better friend, better graphic designer, better everything, find what it is that you are called to do, who you're called to be, what your dream was, and then awaken from the dream and walk it out. Crack the code so you can get to your next place. So let me say this. I want to apologize to any and everybody because we're about to close this year out. And something that I wound up hearing in my spirit within the last couple of days was the words, "It is finished." You're going to have to let some things go. You're going to have to let emotions go. You're going to have to let the hurt go. But you need to speak it first. Write it down, scream it, do whatever. Get it out so you can heal it. You cannot heal until you get the infection out. And sometimes it causes you to have to be lands cut open and the infection to be drained out, and heavy antibiotics in order for you to get better. Yes, the pain will hurt because you're being cut on, but I can promise and assure you this: when it's all said and done, you're coming out on top. Do you hear me? When it's all said and done, you're coming out on top. So I need to ask forgiveness of many people. Maybe it was something I did to you at some point in life that I may not be aware of. And then there's some things that I am aware of. There were people that, though, like I said, you may have started with me first, I went hard after you, out of hurt, out of pain, out of rejection. For instance, Auntie Linda Holloway, I apologize for what was said a little while ago. Cecilia and Willie Holloway, same. Absolute. To my stepfather. Even though all of that was 20 years ago, plus I held the pain and I never made the pain known. And guess what? Until you are honest, you can't find your true healing because you're not willing to expose the issue. You're worried about how it's going to look in front of people, what people may say. But I need you to get to a place in your head that if I don't heal it, it's going to kill me. And if I die without ever fulfilling the assignment of who I dreamed and saw myself being, all of this was for nothing. All was for nothing if I don't do what I saw myself doing. I'm leaving with this. I always saw myself speaking in front of huge crowds. Period. So when I got to Weapons of Power, 2003, being on the pulpit and then setting up things and people being all in there and working with the ministerial staff and all of those people being in that auditorium, I was able to look within the Edward Jones Dome and imagine myself being in that position, just being able to help heal someone else. You've been waiting on someone to come to your rescue. But God is saying, I am the present help in trouble. I'm the one to rescue you. And if you just decide to wake up and walk out the thing that you saw, if you're able to crack the code, if you can wake up and come to consciousness of who you are. Even the prodigal son had to shake himself after being in the pit for so long. He said, I was living below my means. I enjoyed the sin and the stagnance while I was in it. But when I saw myself eating out of the pig's pen and saw the condition that I was in, I had to come to the realization that I'm living below my means. My aunt used to always say this to me, said, baby, you have Champagne tastes with beer money. And that just came back to me when God had said, awaken the dreamer. He said, the thing is, you have dumbed yourself down to make other people feel normal. You have compromised yourself to make other people feel as if it's okay that they do whatever. Because you're in stuff, so you shouldn't speak on it. A pastor that I was with, and you know I don't mind telling about my past and all that. A pastor that I was with, one of those hard Pentecostal type preachers, and would talk about relationships and doing all this other stuff. And I had to ask one day, I was like, so how do we get into this headspace that you can preach the way that you do in front of people, but you and I are laying up together? And here is something that made me respect him for all of my days. He said, listen, I may do what I do, but the word is still the truth. I may do what I do, but the word is still the truth. The word has no boundaries. You're bound up, but the word doesn't have boundaries. And so you still preach and teach the Bible. And from that moment on, I awoken to the place of, if I'm in certain conditions and positions, I will not get up in front of God's people any kind of way. Why? Because I have a standard and a reverence for God. I wish some other pastors, Dr. Bryant and others who are having problems controlling your flesh. Yes, we are all human, but one too many scandals after another. Take it from someone who had enough common sense to sit himself down before anyone had to sit me down. People were asking me to get up to do things, and I would say, nope, because I'm a certain way. I had to learn cycles of myself. That he likes to come in ways of three with me. You know, scripture says steal, kill, and destroy and all that. And then you have lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. You know, we operate in the threes, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And so I noticed that the enemy within seasons around the same time, he will come with a similar tactic, just a different situation. What do I mean? Different situation, but same tactic. It was still an addiction. See, I used to be absolutely addicted to pain medication. Dilaudid, Vicodin, Percocets. I was getting it on a regular. Drug addicted, going to church. Y'all would see me literally at some churches on the front row, just looking drugged out. Some people were asking, you know, me sweating and all that. Boy, you really must be hot. Well, it's not necessarily just me being hot, because I do run hot sometimes. But here's the thing. I don't care where you start, just start. The reason why I sweat so badly is because I had to come within the realization of myself that I'm killing myself and killing my own destiny. You're wondering why you're not being healed because you won't tell the truth. You won't be accountable. You won't be vulnerable. You won't let it go. You feel like you can handle it. I got this. I'm okay. And here's the fact of the matter. You're not okay. And it's okay that you're not okay. When you recognize that you're not okay, then we can get you to the point of being okay, because now you are not held within bondage of the jail of complacency and for covering. Covering for what? Because listen, when you're out of here, and it's going to be stuff that comes out. So you might as well deal with it now before it deals with you. Deal with it before it deals with you. Kill it before it kills you. I was in a grace period of this. I told my godmother, Pastor Katrina Wallace, we were having a conversation, and I was just upfront with her. I was like, listen, I like this pain medication. It is what it is. I've been trying to get off of it, but it's hard. And then they increase the dosages, then it goes down. Then I'm shooting up certain things. I'm taking pain meds and doing certain things, got stuff put in so I can shoot up and all this other crap. And I didn't care that it was killing me. Why? Because I was already dead inside. I didn't care about it killing me naturally because I was already dead inside. So all that it was going to produce was a manifestation of what I already was feeling. You need to know the true dream versus what a fact may be. The fact is, hear me. The fact is, I have broken pieces within my life that I'm healing now. Today started the process that I'm healing now. I hear the scripture pop up in mind that physician, he that's whole don't need a physician. So he's the chief physician. And then here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Catch this. Somebody write it down. Type this in. Do something. Catch this. He's the attending physician. And you're just the resident. What am I saying? Get your instruction from the dream. Get your plan from the dream and walk in the plan. And as you walk in the plan, watch yourself get free. Watch yourself, watch some stuff fall off your life. Watch it. I declare it today. Watch it come off your life when you make the decision to let it go and to awaken from your slumber, sleeping giant. I told my godmother, I was like, I'm lonely many times. And so that drives me into doing things. I'm not meant to be by myself, relationally either. Not meant to be by myself. Nope, that's not my ministry, period. But I told her, I was like, you know, I have good seasons where I'm not doing things, but then somehow, some ways or another, I somehow, even though I haven't did it in a while, I find myself right back in it and I'm lonely. And I couldn't hear at the time because I had pushed away his voice. And when you push it away for so long, it starts to get more and more faint. What's causing you to act out? So I was in many relationships and found myself being a whore because I wanted the acceptance. I found myself doing drugs to mask the pain, because while I'm high, it allows me to escape for just a moment. But when I come back, the same issues are there, because you never spoke it. You act as if it's not there. You cry yourself to sleep. You're drinking yourself crazy. You don't know how you got into being so bound up. I had a ministry called Yoke Destroying Ministries International that I stopped. I started that in 2013. He gave me the name before I had ever started doing the work. He already spoke through dream, Yoke Destroying Ministry, meaning from the foundation, he already ordained my life to operate in the space of destroying yokes. But guess what? I got rid of Yoke Destroying Ministries. Why? Because my current situation and states, because I didn't see myself free. I couldn't operate fully. How do you see yourself? How did you see yourself in the dream? You are more than a conqueror. You are above and not beneath. You are the righteousness of God. You have a peaceful mind. Rejection is done. I speak to the hurting boy that's within you, who has been crying out for love and getting it from all the wrong places. God is saying, listen, I just want you to acknowledge what you're feeling, because I can't do anything until you let me know what you are feeling and what you need. In this season, God is saying, I want your soul to prosper. Forget materialistic stuff. I can care less about a label, because now I knew what it was like to drive a Mercedes. I knew what it was like to wear red bottoms. I knew what it was like to travel around and get to go all these different places and take different vacations. And my family just say, you always gone. You'll never be still in this, and that. I know about all of that. And when you've been through enough hell, heartache, and trial, I said earlier, you'll give it all up. Many things don't matter anymore, especially when it comes at the price of you not having peace. Come here, come closer. Today, I speak life to you. I speak now that you awaken, dreamer. I speak now that you walk in the fullness of who you are. I speak now that you walk in the authority, the power, and the dominion that you possess through your Father and our King. At the end of the day, whether I want to accept it or not, guess what? I'm called to pastor. I'm called as a prophet. I'm called as a doctor. I'm called as a friend. I'm called as a servant. Don't keep serving so much that you forsake yourself, doctor. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I told you he's the attending physician and you're the resident. He's teaching you, physician, how to heal yourself. And it first starts with knowing what's on the inside that needs to be eradicated. I feel the power of God, and I'm finna go from here. I promise I'm finna go. We're probably not going to do too much on Wednesday. but I have to leave this before Christmas, and before Christmas, and before we go into 2021. Dreamer, awaken. Dreamer, awaken. I command that your spiritual senses be open to hear the frequency and the will of God and all he's called you to do. I command in the name of Jesus that you not only obey, but you walk in first time obedience. I decree and I declare that even as you would walk out purpose, destiny, and God's divine plan for you, that even as you would go, as the lepers were told to do, as you go, so shall you be healed. You're healing within your mind, you're healing within your body, the healing within your family, the healing and restoration that needs to come about. He said, I'm not only bringing healing and restoration, but I come now to make you whole before 2021. Waken, dreamer, and let it go. It's time to move ahead. It's time. No more self-doubt. I cancel that spirit. I cancel it. No more self-doubt. No more. No more. It's time to arise. Awaken, giant. Move. Move, intercessor. Pray on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, teacher. Get to studying because we need to hear your voice. Counselor, come on, go and do what you do, because some of us have warfare in our mind that we naturally need to talk about. My God, today, I'm going to leave with this, and this was a prophetic word in which I heard for prophetess Pamela K. Dillon, and I told her this past weekend that I was going to mention this on the show today. And I hope you declare this even within your life. Some of you, even though it was specifically said to her, there will be some of you who can attest to what's being said, and you will feel a check within your spirit. When I say this, I called her and I said, I saw God as if he was picking you up, taking you by the hand. He was on the stage and you were coming up, and God said, I saw God taking your hand to pull you up to the stage. And what he says in that moment is step up and dominate. The people will come, the money will come, the influence will come when you decide to work out the dream, to walk out the dream. That's when it's going to happen. When you decide to walk out the dream, then I see you stepping up. I see you stepping up. And when you step up, don't you not for 1 second take down. Because he said 4 words: step up and dominate. Pamela K. Dillon, prophetess, mama, listen, yes, that word was for you, and I heard what you said and all that, but of course, if that's for you, then it also is attached to those who are connected to you. Those who are connected to you. So I declare that over the house of Agape and prophetess Pamela K. Dillon, and I declare it over the lives of those who that is assigned for as well. That's your word as well. Step up and dominate. You're equipped. You have everything that you need to get the job done. You are the one for this time, for this dispensation, for this people, for this walk. And as you go, let me say it one last time, as you go in walking this dream out, that's when you'll feel the chains fall off. That's when you'll feel yourself getting strength. That's when you'll walk in the full power and authority in which you possess. The reason why you haven't done it is because you haven't awakened from the dream. Wake up, beloved. Spiritual ascension time. All right, I'm done for today. 1 hour and 34 minutes. Thank y'all for tuning in so much. I was trying to keep it short, but as I told you, we had two messages to blend into one because I heard two things at the same time. And so I just want to say thank you so much. Please like this video. Please share this video. And most of all, please subscribe to this page so you can see more content like this. Listen, I want you to be able to text me, okay? I want you to be able to text me. I gave you homework. I need you to write down the dream or dreams of things that you saw yourself doing or places that you see yourself in. Write it down. And then once you write it down, I want you to work to move whatever the dream was forward. No more holding back. Today, you're free. Listen, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. You can text me. I have a Google Voice number that you can text me on, which is area code 314-270-2728. Again, that's area code 314-270-2728. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing text messages and all that on how you have been blessed or how something has encouraged you. I want to hear the testimonies of you awakening, dreamer. It's time for you to do the greatest exploits of your life. And that doesn't just mean in church. That's wherever you go. It's time for you to step up and dominate. I dedicate this video to my daughter, Skylar. And the reason why I want to dedicate this to Skylar on today is because there were many times in my life that I was so afraid with her being my daughter that I was paralyzed from moving forward because I was so afraid that I wouldn't get the parenting thing right because I didn't see that example. I was afraid that maybe, hey, I knew people who would say how much they're in your corner and they love you and all that, but then you do something, man, they're gone. So I knew that. And with going through all of that and seeing what my daughter goes through, because she is the female version of me, that's why God put her in my life. Here's a request that I had, and I'm going to tell you this dream, and I promise this is done. Here's a dream that I wound up having as a younger person. And the reason why I brought up the issues that happened in the household as a kid and coming up is because it has now come full circle for me. Why? I had always said that whenever I got married, I wouldn't mind being with someone who has a child. And I want to have a child. And then I want to adopt a child. I've always said that. Well, I was like, I still don't have anyone and all that. So I guess we're not having a child. And right now, some things have been going on financial and all that. I don't have time for that. But God wound up sending my way a young lady right in the nick of time who was the mini me. And same stories. There's nothing that anyone can say to me to make me do or say anything towards my daughter. She has made me become a little more responsible. I heard kids do that. I'm more conscious of what I put out now, what I do. Because even though she's not a kid, she's a adult. But I don't want to mimic behaviors that I saw coming up. Somewhere it has to stop. And so this is encouragement to me, because it was my dream to adopt a child. And God sent me a child out of nowhere a little bit ago. So Skylar, thank you so much for the love that you always share with me. And I know I haven't seen you in a couple of months or so. We're definitely going to do that. I had been so afraid. I get paralyzed sometimes because of past things. But I'm making a commitment today to be a better father to you. There's nothing that you can say, anyone can say, to make me not look at you as my blood daughter. I love you so much. Thank you for loving me. I appreciate you. You make me one of the most proud dads in this world. And so, hey y'all, I'm a girl dad. Anyway, I hope you all have a great week. Definitely, once again, 314-270-2728. Text me, let me know how this has encouraged you. Or you can send me a message on Messenger. I'm sure you can comment on YouTube. Also, you can send me an email at iamdrlogan@gmail.com. Again, that's iamdrlogan@gmail.com. Thank you for spending an hour and 40 minutes with me. Yeah, love you all. You can watch this in pieces. That's the good thing about this. You can watch it in pieces. But anyway, I love you all. God bless you. Merry Christmas to you all. Definitely, if we do not speak before that time, I want to wish each and every one of you a happy 2020 Christmas. All right. Skylar, when you come back, you and I have a date, dear. All right. I love you so much, my daughter, and all of you, my family. Thank you so much for tuning in to Accountable Conversations. I am your host for this show, Logan, and I appreciate you so much. God bless you. God keep you. Merry Christmas, and awaken, dreamer. Just levitate.
That's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business. Just levitate.